How are you out there? March 19th, 2019. It's about 11 o'clock at night, and we're going to spend a few hours finishing up the net present value chapter in the Greeley Myers Marcus corporate finance textbook. And for the online folks, this is your main way of hearing the lectures. And for the live classes, this classes are using these videos during the day section. It's a nice supplement where you're getting these videos, and then you're able to take it home with you. It's like a Grateful Dead CD at a concert, if you guys know what that is. A few people out there may know what that is. So let's get to it. Okay. We're here, more mutually exclusive projects, and we have our template here. And again, for the online folks, please, realize that, everything is, you'll have all the lectures. You're going to have all the lectures on YouTube. And this is the last one for net present value. The next set of lectures for the online folks are going to be completing the accounting cycle, which I think mathematically may be a little bit easier to deal with. But, we did the tougher chapter first, and we already have the first assignment that's due, which is April 5th. So again, I sent an email out for that time. All the documents are on Blackboard, but I may send you an email with the documents attached just as a backup if you need something like that. Anyway, let's talk about mutually exclusive projects. Yeah, mutually exclusive and independent. I'm trying to see if I threw the definitions in here for this stuff. I may have somewhere along the line, the definitions. Mutually exclusive means if you're driving on the Turnpike or Route 78 and there's a car in front of you, and there's one easy pass lane. Only one car can pass outside of an accident. One car can pass through at a time. That's mutually exclusive. Independent means, me driving in that lane doesn't affect another person paying the toll or not paying the toll. There's an effect when we talk about independence. Those definitions, they may be in the stock valuation chapter. Those definitions are somewhere out there. But you guys can always go to Investopedia and take a look at those things and get some real good solid discussion about that. I don't know if I play the it's a video and a video. If I play a video on the video, I don't know if that's generally going to work. I'm not really going to try that tonight. But like I said, mutually exclusive means it's one or the other type thing. And if you have 100 million to invest, you can only spend 100 million. You can't spend 200 million unless you're going to debt and those kinds of things. And one project may not affect the next. It's these are all very real concepts in investment management and investment banking and all that type of thing. So looking here, it says when choosing among mutually exclusive projects, we must calculate the NPV of each alternative and choose one with the highest positive NPV. And now we're just throwing this term out there. This is not accounting profit, and as I've said many times, it's in dollars how far away you are from your expected return, which means you predicted return X and you're getting return Y, and return Y is bigger. Now, if NPV is negative, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad project. What it means is you've overestimated your return. So in other words, if you picked a cost of capital of 5% and you get a negative NPV, what that means is that you're foregoing a 5% opportunity, and probably your return is going to be less than your opportunity cost of capital. That's what it means. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad project. If you have to do it, you have to do it, kind of a thing. But in the investment world, everything's become so systematized. The labor markets, all these things have become. We're in a tremendous system in America, especially in America in the West. We're in a tremendous system out here, and the personal part of it is withering away. So investment timing problems, choice between long and short-lived equipment, the replacement problem, we're going to look at all those. Now, if you look at what I classically do is I take the textbook, and even if there's like a discussion of a problem where it's not broken out as an example or a self-test or something like that, I'll turn that into a problem many times. And that general fundamental skill is extraordinarily important in business and finance and economics and certainly accounting, all those kinds of areas. So we've seen real world decisions, either or choices, competing alternatives, and here you can see the mutual exclusive, future investment opportunity. You have the whole thing in there, and you have some of the definitions of investment time. Like I said, this is PDF page 253. You guys can just sort of read this on your own when you have a chance. You should be reading the textbook, especially the online folks should be reading the textbook. In here, yeah, it goes through a long discussion of this problem. It's how much you save, and what it costs to install a new computer system. There's both of those, because a dollar saved is really a dollar earned. I'm sure you've heard that old your parents teaching about money. I'm sure that some folks out there had their parents say that line to them. So here it says, one of the older examples, it says new computer system, 20,000. There's cost savings, justify the expense. Financial manager is not persuaded. And what they're trying to say is, they want to time out when the best time to make this investment. Now, I don't know if they're predicting, labor prices are going to go down somehow, or there's some dollar benefit one way or another, either in cost or savings or something like that, that's making them want to delay that. So we have it says table 8.2. Yeah, here it is. It says the gain from purchase is rising, but the NPV today is highest if the computer. Yeah, so what they're trying to do, they're trying to pick out, based on the savings, based on the cost and the fluctuating costs, when the time to buy this computer, when you're going to have the maximum. And as you can see here, the maximum NPV. Now, looking at this, as if we were in class, I'd be tapping my pen on the overhead saying, this is just a dead picture. And it is. Okay, you're looking at this, you have a couple years, cost of the computer, that's going down. Now, present value of the savings, I don't know if they mean to those years. We were just given this kind of a thing. But, we all know how to compute present value of something, divide it by 1 plus r, and extend it, for the number of years away from your reference point by 1, 2, or 3, or 5, or whatever it may be. But they just give you these present values of the savings. So let's go through the Excel and really try to figure out what this is trying to guess just from this table isn't really the best way. And then there's a self-test in here that we're going to look at. Okay, and let's see what it says. If you'll bear with me, let's just try and read this. It says the layout of basic data. You can see the cost of computers are projected to decline from 50 to 45 next year. The new is if it's the last 4 years from the time it's installed. The present value of the savings at the time of the installation. Okay, at the time of the installation, 70 every time. Okay, so when you read the little narrative in here, you get a little bit of clearer detail on that. If obsolete invests today, it achieves an NPV of 70,000 minus 50. So yeah, so looking at what that all is. Obviously, the savings from either you don't have a person doing it, and hey, let's face it. I mean, even at the school, we all walk around and we see these little sort of security booths, or they look like big phone booths, right? There's a couple of them scattered around, but there's no one in them. And even NJIT would have them. And I'll tell you what's replaced it. St. Peter's has, I think, 250 cameras. I've read that somewhere. They have 250 surveillance cameras all over the campus. So certainly an NJIT or Rutgers will have, many times that, and I'm sure far more complicated system. And that's what's doing. Electronics, technology, even in the banks. And I hate to say it, but if you're working in sort of the back room, a lot of those jobs are getting automated, and artificial intelligence is coming along. And I like that. I have a sophisticated, high-level job. I like that. I don't want something very simple. To me, I would get bored. But so I like the technologies taking care of the boring stuff, and then people are free to be creative. I like that. So so part of NPV, excuse me, NPV 70,000 minus 50. If it invests next year, 70,000 minus 45. So yeah, so it goes through it, and based on the cost, you're still going to have that savings. But based on the cost, you're going to have an NPV that you compute that changes. So isn't a gain of 20 better than 20? Isn't a gain 25,000 better than 20? Well, it depends on how far away that is. If it's 25,000 next year, 20,000 this year, is 25,000 next year the same as 20,000 this year? And you'll see right here, right? 25,000 a year out with a 10% cost of capital is really 22,000. So it's certainly bigger than the 20,000. So it's those kinds of arguments with this. This is all trade-offs. And like I said, I'm just skimming through this. You guys can read through the arguments here yourselves. And like I said, in the online section, we're only going to do most likely these 2 chapters, but we're going to do them in depth. And there's plenty of topics. I emailed you guys in January. There's 4 topics just in this one chapter that take a good amount of time to go over: profitability indexes and payback periods and the general NPV and the rate of returns and So there's a lot of material, and the completing the accounting cycle, you'll get experience with worksheets and balance sheets, and there's no finance without accounting. There just isn't. You have to be able to read a company's information or an SEC filing or something like that. You have to get, that's how it's communicated. The Federal Reserve does it. It's not done some other way. It's done using accounting. So yeah. So again, you're looking at the different gains, and it says, notice that if you involve the trade-off, sooner you can capture the 70,000 savings, the better. If you postpone the purchase by a year, the price for buying the computer or the gain increases, type of a thing. Since the cost of capital 10%, it pays to postpone at least a year. If you postpone from 3 to 4, the gain rises from 34 to 37. A rise of just under 9%. So the decision rule for investment timing is to choose the investment date that produces the highest net present value today. And like I said, I just screamed through this a bit, but we're going to go through it line by line in Excel. And actually, we're going to do that right now. I'm hitting Alt-Tab, and again, for the people who've never taken classes with me before, Alt-Tab gives you all the applications that you're dealing with, Notepad and different Excel files, all these things. Okay, so instead of you rushing around with the mouse, it lets you do it. And folks, as long as it doesn't bother you, I'm going to have my solutions just sort of sitting here just to remind me sort of what I did the whole way. And from accounting, the blue, and someone had emailed me this, which is great already. The blue font is you entering something from the keyboard. The black, if you look over here, these are my entries. The black font is a computation. Okay, so that's, I appreciate people bringing that up. And all the shading, I have all the shading here. I'm saying Alt HHN. I'm getting rid of the gray. Just reminds me that I need to fill this in. Okay, that's all it really is. So this is, it costs 50,000. 45. Now you're saying, hey, wait a second, you're typing in 1545. How do we know that's 1,000? Well, if you look up here, that's where that comes from. It's just, add 3 more zeros. The SEC works like this. And so these are all just inputs into the course of the system. And again, anybody who buys this stuff sort of institutionally, even for yourselves, the computing power that all of us can just buy is I think, more than some of those initial 1960s space missions from the Air Force or the National Aeronautical Space Agency. I think we have more powerful computers than probably even on some of the space shuttles from the 80s too. I think we probably have more powerful stuff than video, the communication. All the things that we have with this stuff is really, really, it's dramatic and tremendous progress that we've all seen. Okay. These are your savings. And again, it's from the point of when you buy it type of a thing. Okay, so they're just, again, at the specific T, the year of the purchase, and this is, these are time indices. These are the time you work. A year from now, 2 years from now. This is today. 0 generally means today. Okay, now, obviously, I gave it away. Obviously, when to purchase this, but let's go through the logic of it as we do this. Okay, I'm reminding myself here what I did. So yeah, so looking at this is the NPV. And the NPV is the difference. So I'm going to take this. I'm saying equals my savings minus what I spent. This is sort of the benefit minus the cost type thing. I'm saying copy, Control C for copy. I'm saying Alt HVF. Okay, and it fills the formula down without messing with the formatting. So you want to be very careful up here. I'll just do it with the mouse just to show you guys. Paste and choose this formula. That's just for the formula, and it doesn't bring formatting, or sometimes you can bring just the values. But when you have some time, go through this paste specials and all the versions. And if you want to get rid of your highlight, just hit escape a couple times, and it'll at least once, but probably twice, to get rid of the little highlights. See Control C, then hit escape, and it gets rid of it. And use your arrow keys to get around. Okay. But now in terms of the NPV though, we're going to use a 10% cost of capital. And just in my live class the other day, we were watching a news feed from Fox Business. And the treasuries, the 10-year treasury, which is the benchmark for loans, the benchmarks for interest rates, you can get about 3% by lending your money to the federal government. Okay, and everything else, municipal bonds, everything sort of follows that. So all those things sort of tick up just a bit. Why are interest rates getting higher? Well, the markets are sort of heating up a bit, and I know Trump twisted the arm of Powell, the Federal Reserve chairman. In New York, I'm sure he twisted the guy's arm to not raise interest rates because the economists are saying, hey, let's slow down the economy a bit so we don't have inflation, which is to the benefit of everybody. It's not everybody, all the participants in the economy, in the country, and in the world, that America doesn't experience too much inflation. It's to everybody's benefit. But what Trump is thinking about, he's up for election, I think, next year, and the last thing he wants is a recession or declining output or any kind of bad economic news. That's the last thing he wants. So that's where the politicians sort of influence a bit, because he wants to get in. I'm sure he's had a great time being president. I'm sure, and he wants to get in again, and then set up Pence for his run in a couple years, and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of wheels in the machine, that's for sure. So anyway, so we got the net present value, which is the savings, which is a benefit, minus the cost of the computer system, and then we're going to compute the net present value. This equals to that number, your cash flow divided by 1 plus your 10% rate. We're going to anchor that with the F, putting a dollar sign in front of the column and a dollar sign in front of the row. Okay, this is shift 6 to put the little exponentiation sign. I'm going to select my exponent right there. So what's going to happen? And look at how what I did here. The cash flows are in column AK. AK21 is the cost of capital. So that I don't want that to move around. When I fill down, Excel will say, "Hey, I'm in a different cell from I'm not in row 25 anymore. I'm in row 26." And what it'll do is it'll bring all the references to 26 unless you tell it otherwise. So the cash flow, I want that to move. The exponent for it says age 25, I want that to move, but I don't want the 10% to move. I want that. I could just type in 10% too, but we like the robust flexibility of this. So $20 or $20,000 today is worth $20,000. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say Alt HDF, and I think we already looked at this. 25,000 in a year from now is worth 22,000 today. Okay, and then we just keep going. Alt HDF, 30,000, right? In 2 years is worth 24,000 today. That kind of a thing, and then Control copy, Alt HDF. Okay, so as you get further out, even though these numbers are a little bit bigger, but the value today gets smaller. So that's an interesting paradigm right there. Okay, and you want the maximum, and the maximum is right there. Okay, that's the maximum. The third year. Okay, that's what you want. Okay, so we have our cost benefit balance, and then when is that most valuable to us? And it may be interesting. You say, hey, wait a second. So at this point is where your tipping point is, where even though this is a higher cash flow, but you're further out and that kind of thing. So in terms of your NPV, the third year is the best one. They're all pretty similar. I mean, you're not going to go wrong. Now, this is a very fine analysis. You're not going to see people doing too much of this too often, but people like us would. The everyday person, this is time value of money is, even accountants, it's way beyond what they're working on. So the decision rule for investment timing is to choose the investment date that produces the highest net present value today. And I just showed you an example of that. That was problem number 1. Okay, now we're gonna do this again, pretty much. Okay, so let's see what's changed here. Some things have changed one way or another, and this is also in the textbook. So again, all I do is read I read 2 chapters for you guys, and made models, and we're gonna talk about it. That's your course. And like I said, I was emailing you guys for a while, the online section, sending you textbooks and read this chapter, that chapter. So like I said, there's 2 chapters you're going to be reading. Okay, you're going to be reading the net present value here, and what I'll do is I'll just quickly open up the accounting book, which again, all that stuff's on Blackboard. In the accounting book, in the accounting book, just read chapter 4, completing the accounting cycle. Okay. That's all stuff for the online guys. That's all you need to do. And again, we have a bunch of problems. Then I'll make some more videos on this and go through all this, the worksheet, and how to create a balance sheet, and how to create the financial statements. That's a business. Just creating financial statements as a living, that's a business. Okay, because always new companies coming to market. We're gonna go through the problems, closing. So there's a lot of stuff in chapter 4. That'll take us some time. Okay, that's gonna take. I've taught this stuff live, and I've taught it online, so I know how long things take. And these 2 chapters, there's plenty of material in these 2 chapters. The next piece of this, the business is shrinking as a company, whatever. Okay, something bad happens to the company. The CFO realizes savings from the installing new computer will shrink by $4,000 a year, from 70 to 66 next year. So it's moving. So we're going to recompute the table with a declining benefit. Okay, that's what we're basically going to do. So so you're going to come to this, and actually what we did here. So for the first one, this is the same. These are the same, I think. Yeah, these are and watch what I'm going to do, so I don't mess with my form. Say paste just the numbers or just the values. And that's all I'm going to do. And then here, Alt HHN. Okay, we just pasted the numbers. Now you're going to have a declining present value or declining savings by 4,000. So it starts at 70. Then you say equal 70 minus the 4. You're going to lock the 4 by putting dollar signs in front of the columns and the rows. You're going to clear out the shading, and you'll say control down. See how it did it for you? Right. So every cell here, right? Every cell reduces the savings by 4. And actually, folks, maybe I didn't dwell long enough on some of these. This is just a difference. Savings minus the cost of the computer. That's all it is, just a difference. This is present value. Okay, so maybe I should have left those, maybe sort of lingered on them just a bit. Okay, and you can see the blue corresponds to this, the green is this, and then the purple is the exponent. Okay, and like I said, watch these a couple times. Okay, especially the online folks. You know, in class you're sitting there, you're absorbing it. But like I said, you guys, all you have are the videos. So, you know, that's what you're dealing with. Cost of capital or opportunity cost is 10%. Is right there. Okay. You're clearing out those. Yeah, now you do the same math, right? Your savings minus your cost. Whoops. Copy, select, Alt, H, D, F, or just like I said, just paste the formula down. Okay. And actually, what you can do, you know, there's all this complicated stuff here. You can just come up here. You can just sort of grab this. All right, you're selecting your present value formula. You can select all of these and say paste just formulas. And even though it's that same 10%, but we have to go up to this thing, and we've got to change it to 45, not 21 any longer. All right, Control Return and copy Alt HDF, which is the same. But I'm just referring. Don't just take advantage of the other 10% was the same. You want it to be for the 10% you're using, type thing. Okay, don't just use it from somewhere else just because it happened. Just luck. You don't want luck to play too much of a role in your models. That's for sure. Okay, there's your present. And obviously looking for the highest one. And you can see now we have a declining savings, and the highest NBV now is at the beginning. Okay, as opposed to somewhere in the middle or wherever it may be. Okay, so like I said, so you made a little adjustment here. So this is different, right? Because this was constant before, and now it's declining. There's an equation that can go with this. We just sort of worked it out. Okay, but that's really what that is. That's right at the year of purchase. All right, so you have that choice between long-lived and short-lived. Like I said, so we're going to be like a machine gun now. We're going to just be rolling through these problems as we go along here. This next one is a firm is forced to choose between machines. So, folks, there's still manufacturing going on. Apple still, obviously, when you buy an iPhone or whatever it is, an Apple product, it's generally, there's software in it, but it's generally something you hold in your hand. It's got to be made in a factory somewhere. And I used to be an analyst in semiconductor area, and there's a whole sub area called semiconductor equipment, where you're following the manufacturers of the machinery, and that stuff, because the process changes, the machines change, even if it's subtle, but you'll need a new system, or you can't upgrade your old system for whatever reason because it's new chemicals, new process. Now, when I was studying it, 10 years ago, and even 20 years ago when I was studying the actual science behind it, we were at a tipping point where, the old physics that explained everything, we were getting to the limit of that, and there was going to be nanotechnology. Now, I haven't really followed how far that's progressed. But I know a decade ago, there were firms on Wall Street making investments in 20, 30 of those kinds of companies type thing. So it's getting there. And I know NJT started diving into it. So it's moving. But, there's a lot of inertia because these factories and jobs and all these things, people are working. And it's like with the oil industry, I'm sure there's a cheaper, more efficient, cleaner way to operate our cars or drive the cars, but how do you unemploy all those people in those factories and the towns that the factories are in? It's very, very tricky. It's a slippery slope. These in the ivory tower we can dream of this technology, clean technology, and this and that, and we could dream of all these things on a piece of paper or in a laboratory. But when you're dealing with people move, and how easy is it for us to really move to here or there, or move to California, move to North Dakota, It's not so simple. You know, your kids are in school and all these other types of things. So it's a tougher thing to live like that. So just, you know, the economists can theorize and say, oh, well, yeah, you should move where the jobs are. And you hear that on the Fox News network, you know, the Republicans going to say, just move, you know, kind of a thing. Well, it's not so simple all the time for people to do that. So, okay, so enough with the monologue on the equipment industry. A firm is forced to choose between two machines. They're designed differently, but by identical capacity. The first one costs $15,000, will last 3 years. The second one's an economy model, it costs a little bit less, but it's more expensive to run. And that's, you know, the guys who worked on my roof recently, have you ever experienced, you know, doing the roof on your house, but there's like roofing tiles. They're about as big as a big desktop or like a big, you know, executive desk. It's probably about, you know, 3 feet by 2 feet or something like that. You know, it's like a couple pizza boxes sort of put together. And, you know, you're doing a roof. It's on a roof. It's got to go up. And what they had this little mechanical gizmo, like a little trolley car that worked on the ladders, where there was a little engine and they plugged it in, and they placed the roofing tiles on like this little platform, and it zoomed it up the ladder. Okay, imagine paying a guy. I mean, you could, you know, pay a guy to walk up and down the ladder all day long, and how dangerous that is, or use a rope to pull it up, and you're banging against the home, and all these other kinds of things. So technology has figured out a way to do that quickly, and same thing with these machines. You know, the reason one of them might cost a little bit more is there's a little more labor involved, where the more expensive one, you know, automates a little bit better, you know, and that kind of a thing. And it lasts a little bit longer. It's cheaper to run, lasts longer, but it's more expensive to buy. So you got to figure out, you know, and it's generally not just two choices. There could be more choices for these things. Okay, so, and you can see how he broke the model up. And again, I did a lot of this for you guys already, where it's already sort of set up for you here. Yeah, here's machine I, here's machine J, and we're going to put the discount rates in and all this thing. I think it's the same for both. Yeah, well, it's the same. You just copy. Just come here and just say, boom, 6%, 6. You know, we're using that as our cost of capital, and it's lower numbers for something like this. If there's you're going to do some coal strip mining in the Middle East, that might be a little higher cost of capital. For I, it costs 15,000. Actually, it costs 15,000, and then 4,000, 4,000, 4,000 to run all the years. Okay, we're looking at that. So yeah, and now what you want to do, you want to at T0, you know, what is 4,000 a year from now worth today? 15,000 right now, what is that worth? All those things. So it's the same math, right? 15,000 divided by parentheses 1 plus your 6%. Anchor that. I hit F4 in the PC world, but you can hit, you know, in the Mac world, the Apple folks might have to type those dollar signs. And the dollar signs mean, as I copy and paste this formula, it's always gonna refer to that 6%. That's what those $2 signs mean. Okay, and like I said, we're going through the steps here just to give you, so you understand the circuitry, so you understand the process here. And we're going to refer to the exponent every time. I had t equals 0 in here for the longest time. Now I've evolved, and I'm always changing what I'm doing, which I'm happy about. So this is T0 is here. So I'm now it's a live number. I can use those numbers in combinations. If you just wrote T, and I'll show you what I mean. I used to say T equals 0. I used to center it and change the font a little bit and make it a text. When it's a text, you can't really use it on. You can't use it in a computation. So I was using something like this here, and I'm not really doing that anymore. So I'm choosing the numbers. I'll leave that there for historical reasons. So here's your time value of money. So you divide by 1 plus R, and then what you do, because we formatted everything already, Alt HVF, and you can see how these numbers change. The further out you go, the less that 4,000 is worth. And I generally would write these with the negative in accounting is a parenthesis around it, but these are all costs, so we know they're costs, so we're just writing it like that. Okay. So the whole cost to you now is this, right? The whole cost is this. I just sum them. Right? It's $25,000. Okay, $25,690. A little extra. And I just sum these. I just added them up. So equal sum, right? The AL, row 74, colon AL 77. Okay, like I said, you can see it very well, I hope. Okay. And like I said, and now you have the Excel files in front of you. I'll send the video file up. You guys are going to have the Excel files in front of you. Okay. And there's other ways to do that. I'm just reminding myself what I did here. Yeah, I did it a different way with that one. Okay. Or you could do this. I just saw how I did that. And don't get nervous over this. I did the whole thing. I did it all in one cell. I went like this and just went bananas. This is the NJT way to do it. You just do it all together. All right. And what I did was, the reason I put the 1 in there is we're going to use this math over again. So I'm just going to do this, copy and paste, plus paste, plus paste. Now there's 4 of them. And I have to go through this. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to change the 6%. But I'm going to tweak this. I'm going to make it, row 75, okay. Row 76, row 77. See, instead of me going crazy, just typing by hand everything, I just change the indices. I'll just sort of leave that lingering there for. But that's really how to do it. Is that kind of thinking. Right, and it should be the same number, and it is. Another way to look at this is equals negative PV. This is the Excel function rate. Well, the 15 is what it is. You're going to have 3 years. We're going to use the payments, 4 for payments, and 0 future value. And then we'll just add that 15, and that should be the same as it is. Okay, that's using Excel, the functionality of Excel to do this. Okay, see how I did that? This is the rate, the 6%. This is the how many years? These are they're all the same. This is an annuity, the present value of an annuity. Then the future value was 0, and then 15 was today. All right. Now I have NPV here, but it's the same. Yeah, these are the same. These are the same. So this is just this. Okay, there's nothing else. There's no other. Usually we can find the present value of all these, but these are all costs. So we just did it in one fell swoop. This version, you could do this, equals the first one plus NPV. The rate isn't going to change. Then comma 4, comma 4, comma 4. Also, you've seen a lot of different ways to get net present value and present value. You've seen that often. Okay. But here's what, and I was talking to my contractor about this the other day. There's this thing called annualizing the payment. And what that means is you're taking all these, and even 2 numbers, even these sort of somewhat crooked numbers, if you would say it like that, you want to streamline where you're not worrying about the upfront cost. You're saying over time, what would be my payment for all those cash flows? Now those are all costs. Okay, it's going to cost you $15,000 to buy it. It's going to cost you $4,000 to run it. So what I'll do is I'll annualize the payments and then compare machine I, machine J based on those annualized payments. Not so much on the NPV or anything like that. So, well, how do you do that? Well, here's how you do it. You need an annuity factor, and this is from another chapter. This is from chapter 5. It's from chapter 5 in the textbook. And I used to teach a calculus course at Rutgers to sort of prove this. We're not really going that route at St. Peter's, but just use it is really what you really need to do. You have a cost of capital 6%, so it's 1 over that minus 1 over the 6% again. You're just using this, okay? So don't worry about where it came from and the derivation, all that. Let's not worry about that so much. But like I said, there's a lot of math in this, okay? So we're trying to train you at least to use the math. See how we did that? It's 1 over r minus 1 over r times 1 over 1 plus r to the 3rd power type thing. That's your annuity factor, okay? It's the same as this 2.67. And in the summers, I used to go over this a lot. What does that mean? That means if I had to pay like this, if I had to pay $1 a year for 3 years, I need $2.67 today to satisfy that at 6%. That's really what that means with that factor. And I'll say that one more time. If I had to pay $1 a year for 3 years, I need $2.67 in the bank account today that would earn 6% a year. That'll throw off $1 a year for 3 years. That's for what it's worth to say that. The rest of this stuff, this is just the present value, right? This is just the present value divided by that factor. And there's your annual rates. So what this means is that, you know, I'm spending this amount. I'm spending that amount every time. All right, so I'm spending $9,000, right? $9,610 a year if I go with this choice. Because that's the same present value as $25,690 type thing. And actually, if you needed another, if you want another one, you could have done it like that. Just doing a little formatting. $9,612 type thing. This is that. Yeah. That's $25,692. If you want to look at that one little extra bump in all this. Okay, goal is to minimize the costs. So you converted the cash flows to an annuity in years 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go through the exact same procedure again if you have the stamina to do it. And again, looking at this now, this operates a year less, but you're comparing 3 years and 3 years. So watch what we're going to do. We're still going to spend $10,000, right? We're spending $10,000 to buy the systems, operate at 6, and then the last one is 0, right? Which is right there. Okay, so still 0 is a number. Okay, so it's 0 is not it's still a number type thing. And now what you can do, because you have these 3, instead of doing all that complicated math, you could just drop those in there and actually even this one. Control D. And then what you can do, you can just go back and refer to whatever this is. This is 91 instead of 71, right? Which is right there. Okay. Yeah, there's 91. You could go back, and it's as much work to fill it down and just going back and just clicking on all those. But it's designed for you to not do what I just did. It's designed to sort of just cut and paste it kind of a thing. Okay, those are your cash flows. Now, and actually down here, this is all. I mean, all of this stuff is the same. So I'm just going to copy it and just drop it in there and just make sure. Yeah, we did all that. Fine. This is okay. See, this is your reuse a bit. Yeah, we did 3 years on this guy, but it's a 0 piece of that. Yeah, so this would have to be really just 2 years. There's 21. Okay, it's really just 2 years, not 3 on that one. And this would work because it's a 0 cash flow. But you got to judge the way you compute things. Okay, and again, these 2 big, long, complicated formulas. I'm just going to cut and paste them here, and let's move our stuff around. This would be the 6%, the 6%. I'm just grabbing the borders, and this is 3 years. Is it 3 years? I think it's 2. Yeah, we're doing this in 2 years. Yeah, because we're not for the annuity factor. Yeah, it's 0 at the end of this thing, so. We're not going to jump, right? Because it's going to alter the factor if we use the 3rd year on this. And this is just this, 21,000. So yeah, the annual equivalent on this thing is 11,454. But it only happens for 2 years because that's the life of this thing. So you got to be careful. You have to know how your models work before you start having 3 years, 2 years, okay, type thing. So now the most important part of this, we come to a conclusion. Yeah, folks, this is just this. I'll just sort of leave that lingering there for a second so you guys can take a look at it. And this is just the division. You take the present value divided by the factor, and you get the annual numbers. And like I said, just use these formulas to do all this and to refer to this stuff and read the chapter. And hey, if you want to read chapter 5, I think I may have said it in one of the emails. If you want to read chapter 5, the time value of money, read through it. You have the time because, like I said, we're only going to do the 2 chapters. So if you want to read the other chapter, but I wanted to make sure that because I taught this course so many times that we get hung up on that chapter. I wanted to get to net present value. I wanted to, some of my course, I did a bond course, a stock valuation course. I have different themes because I teach the same courses all the time. You go bananas if you always did the same thing. So you go really bananas on that. So machine I is better, and why is it better? Because it's cheaper to run. Okay, even though but it lasts longer. Yeah, 3 years. It was just 2 years. Right, here's the conclusion down here. It's better because the equivalent annual annuity is less, the payments are less. Yeah, 9,600 to 11,000. Could afford to set a lower annual charge for the use of I. Sure, we have the rule for comparing assets with different lives. And again, any time it lasts longer, you're happy too, because did you want another year at 11,000, right, or a year at 9,600? I think I take that one. The equivalent annual is the level of charge that is necessary to recover present value of investment outlays and operating costs. Continues for the life of the equipment. So now we're getting to a little bit managerial accounting view of things. Implicitly assume that inflation is 0. It would be better to calculate. Yeah, sure. And again, in the time value of money, which I'm going to in the fall, I'm going to use that chapter again. You want to do inflation, and you got to take inflation into account. And again, if we were in class, I'd say, hey, what do you think inflation is? But for most of your lifetimes, it's been about 2%. And that's what Trump is trying to not fight to keep it higher, but he's not caring about that so much. He's caring that the stock, the financial indices are highly valued for his campaign. That's going to start at the end of this year most likely and run into or the summer, right? What does every first term administration want, right? A second term. So that's the Washington D.C. joke. That's what they. So that's why he's pressuring the Federal Reserve guy to not increase interest rates to keep the financial markets highly valued type things in time for his election. And notice how things fell off a cliff as soon as Bush was getting out of office. I don't think that was so much of an accident. Those guys, they're very well informed as to if they don't do this, if they don't do that, what's going to happen in the economy, what's going to happen to stock indices. They're very well informed. Don't ever think for when that they're not. There's no accidents in the Potomac, that's for sure. The last accident was about that jetliner crash into the Potomac about 40 years ago. That's the last accident that happened out there. So anyway, so there you go. Okay, so you compare the annual cost of these things, and so you have that example. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 3 more problems to go. So like I said, let's push through and hit this. This is another one. So we had all of our analysis here. This is a vehicle, and the cost of capital is 10%. And let's see what we're doing with this vehicle. Yeah, the shorter lived, longer lived. Yeah, we're right here with this. Yeah, we just did this. This was in the book. Yeah, okay, here's the example. I apologize for not quoting. It's because I have a paper book, and this is the 8th. I think my paper book is the 9th edition. So that's we're always fighting that fight. These editions change often. Buy a new car. Funny enough, you can purchase for 15,000. Very low end. Toyota, you can get it for 12, 15, something like that. Or lease one for 7 years at 3,000 a year. If you buy that car today, you can sell it in 7 years for salvage value. So that's what we're looking at. This is a buyer lease problem. Okay, and you're trying to figure out which one of those are you going to do. So, and what was the salvage value in this thing? The salvage value was, again, think about that. You buy for 15,000, and then it's a 30th of the price. 7 years later, right at 500, it's about a 30th. So, so here's your salvage that comes in. You're spending 15,000. And again, if you're not using the triple zeros or the 6 zeros or anything like that, so always keep that in mind that you're just putting the straight numbers in, that type of thing. Okay. And then again, this is all at T0. So we're going to say equals 500 divided by parenthesis 1 plus the rate. And now this is 7 years. So this is, there's a little bit of distance on these problems now. Okay. And we're going to do the same math here. Watch, we'll do copy, Alt H V F right there. And it comes out, Alt H H N. It comes out to same number, but again, it's 15,000. Anything to the 0 power is going to be 1. There's a 15,000 divided by 1 is simply 1, type of a thing. And I'm looking at what I did here. Yeah, and I computed the annuity, the equivalent annual annuity was the next piece of this. Okay. So yeah, this is simply, let's do the summation. The present value of what this is worth. It's this is all at 0, so these are all, you can add all these up, right? You're going to get 507 years is 256, so it's worth 14,743 is what this is worth. I used the present value computation here. Yeah, this is just simply equals negative PV, parenthesis, it's a 10% rate, it's 7 years. You could do payment or future value. I'm just going to do future value. And that is 500 plus the 15,000, which is at today. And there you go. I have no idea why that's red. So, yeah, it's currency somehow. How terrible. How that happened. It should not be currency. But there you go. Yeah. How is that currency? It's currency. Oh, it's accounting. It's accounting there. So, when I copy and pasted these things, it moved on us a bit. Okay. The other version of this is this, and just working it out. Alt HHN equals parenthesis 15 divided by 1 plus 10%. It's a year, right, which is the 0 year plus, whoops. I apologize if that happens. I don't know why that happens. It's parenthesis 100, 1 plus 10%, and this is 7 years out. Okay. So you have all that. All right, still 4. So again, the worth of all this. See, here's what you're doing. You're taking that 15,000, and you're getting 500. It's not 14,500. It's going to be 14,743 because it's the 15,000. It's not because the 507 years only with 256 today. Again, that's time value of money is what that is. Okay, so just realize that it's not the same. So it's not done nominally. It's done using time value of money. This is just equal to that, and this is equal to this guy. How do I do this? Yeah, we did it like this. Equals the initial number plus NPV, 10%, and it's going to be 6 zeros. And then the 500. Right, because there's no cash flows in between. And there's your net present value. Okay, so like I said, you gotta know how to use the Excel stuff. I'm just showing you just to show you the capability. I prefer that you compute it yourselves, but you're just using Excel's math, which I'm sure is a guy like me that programmed it. So you're not learning, you're not losing too much with that. And again, folks, as I said before, previously said that these factors, these are complicated mathematics here. So if I can cut and paste, I'll do it. So this means, I'm referring to 142, and I should refer to 137. So every time I see the 142, change it to 137. All right, we have all those, and this is 7 years. So yeah. All right, there's your. And again, what this means is to get $1 a year for 7 years, you have $4.86 in the bank. That's what that means. And this is simply the NPV divided by that. So you can see your annualized numbers and what they look like, about 3,000. Which is right there. Okay. And let's look at the present value. Yeah, the present value of purchasing the car is simply this. And there's a whole narrative here that goes into this. If you need a car, buy it for 15,000, or lease it for one for 7 years at 3. Now, yeah. So looking at this, if you can lease it 3,000, right? But you're to buy the car and own it is the effective annual rate, the effective annual cash flow is 3,028. You know, all right, $20, but 20 over 7 years, that's not even a couple hundred. But when you're dealing with millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, it starts to make a difference. Those kinds of things. So certainly, but it's certainly more. Owning the car, leasing it it's less than 3,000, right? So I think it's the annual lease payment is less than the equivalent annual annuity buying the car should be over. Yeah. So again, we have the conclusion here, and again, it's present value of the cost equal equivalent annual annuity times annuity factor. So yeah, so we wrote a nice little narrative here for you guys. Like I said, I spent a lot of time on the videos, a lot of time in the Excel models. So spend the time, read the Excel like it's class notes, because that's really what they are. Okay, so spend the time on these things. Another equivalent annual annuity. So this is this one. There's 2 more to go. Okay, yeah, there's the self-test there. There's the old machine thing. Yeah, this is a light bulb thing. And actually, it's funny, but the light in my room, I don't know if you can really see it, but I think they call it the ballast. See, lighting systems, it's not as simple as just plugging it in, because it's alternating current that's used in your home. It's not like the battery on your phone or the battery on your flashlight, which is direct current. So there's circuitry involved in controlling it, and we're controlling power. All these, especially with the light, you don't want it to be like a French fryer where the lights in your room are heating you up, kind of a thing. So you want to be able to have a cool bulb, cool to the touch, and it takes control, it takes electrical control to do that. So sometimes the circuitry wears out in some of these lights. And I've had this about 12 years, and it's flickering. I know it's not the bulb because I just threw the bulb in. So they call the ballast in lighting systems. I'm just going to quickly, actually, just as I'm talking to you guys. Electrical systems. Yeah, it's in big fluorescent systems. Yeah, it controls the current as well in fluorescent systems. So this thing wears out. Now I can't see it in mine because it's a small system. But if you have a big, something like this, you'll see it. It's going to look like this. You can hold that in your hand. But I'm sure I have one that's probably tiny like this or something like that. You can barely even see it. All the electronic stuff is getting smaller and smaller. But the fluorescence, you're controlling current, and if there's spikes in the system, the bulb is bursting out. But this thing wears out eventually, so I think that's what happened to mine. But good old Home Depot, very inexpensively, and a nice looking fixture on top of it. I could replace it, and not too much effort. So, okay, so another annual equivalent system here. Low energy bulbs cost $350 and lasts 9 years, and use about $1.60 of electricity a year. Conventional bulbs are cheaper to buy. I always like a 0 in front of this. Electrical bulbs are cheaper to buy, but they only last about a year, and they use more. They're cheaper to buy, but it uses more energy and lasts much less. So if the discount rate is 5%, this is a nice electrical engineering problem. Okay? So our discount factor is 5%. Initial cost for the low energy bulb is $350. The old version is 50 cents. Okay. This has 9 years. This is a year, which is there. Okay. You have all those. Annual energy costs 160, 660. Okay. So you have all that stuff there. And so let's, again, because there's a lot of math involved, we're just going to grab the formula. I've tried that formula once so far, and we'll make all the adjustments. This is going to be AJ 193, 173, 193, and it's 192. AK 192. Yeah, did we get that right? Oh, pardon me, this is AK. There we go. There it is. Okay, so yeah, 7 times. Okay. So a buck a year for 9 years, you need $7.10 at 5%. So that's what that means. But regardless of that. But yeah, again, actually what we want to do, let's anchor the 5% because we're gonna shift this thing over. And you want the one you want it to move to from 9 to 1, but you don't want to move the percentage. Okay, so there it is. So the other way, you need 95 for a year. You need 95 cents today. 5% turns it into $1 in a year. Okay, so there's your factors. Again, I'll just hover over those a bit. It's hard to see, but this you're using the 5%, which is right there. So that's so again, know your cells. This is AJ 193, and that's your rate is AJ 193. Okay. And then the next piece of this, you had an initial cost here. And let's just see what we divided by what here. Yeah, we took that initial value today, divided by the factor, right? And we got the equivalent annual cost on this. So again, we bought that thing today, a little more expensive, divided by this. So on the year, it costs 50 cents. And surprise, surprise, that happens to be the cost of the bulb. So I think the guys in the electrical company did this. And yeah, theirs is about 53 cents. Okay, really. So you bought it and it costs you not, because there's annual energy costs also. Okay. So there you go. Now these do not include this, but we're going to do that math right now. Down here, see the $2.09. This is just simply the summation. Right? This sums your annual cost, comma, the factor, your initial outlay. That's $2.09, and this is $7.13. So boom, right there. And let's do a difference. What? $5 difference. Okay, so buy those those low energy bulbs, the energy saver bulb kind of things. That's a savings of about $5 a year. Okay. And we have our old machine thing, our old machine example that we're going to look at. And then we have the self-test where you're comparing a couple machines, and that's it. Okay, so that's what we're going to hit. So like I said, so let's get to these our last pieces here. This says when to replace an old machine. It'll last 2 more years. It costs 12,000 a year to operate, type thing. Okay. But you can replace with a new machine that costs 25,000, but it's much more efficient. It only costs 8,000 years opposed to 12, and will last for 5 years. Okay. So that's really good, right? Because if you're all, you're not doing it. You already know the one you have, right? It'll last 2 more years. It costs 12,000 a year. So, you're analyzing the new one. If that thing costs 25,000, right? That'll cost. So we're using our opportunity cost of capital 6%. The cost of money 6%. However, there's a lot of words we can use to describe what that is. 25,000 a year. I'm sorry, 25,000 to buy the machine. Then it's 8,000 to run it. Okay. And it should last 5 years. And again, so we're putting our situation into a model. We're making some math out of them to describe it. So 25,000 a year to buy it, 8,000 operating costs, lasts for 5 years. Should replace it now. So let's calculate the NPV and find the equivalent annual annuities, and which is what we're going to do right now. There you go. Okay, so 25,000 today is 6%, but to 0 x1 is worth 25,000. Copy this, and we'll just drop. We'll just drop that stuff in there. Okay. We come to the bottom here. Yeah, that's not, they're all costs, so you have to worry about, NPV. What's NPV? The present value and the NPV are the same in a lot of these because they're all costs. So you're spending 25,000, and then 8,000 a year for those years. So that's how you get the present value. And like I said, we can do that in a variety of ways. Okay, so yeah, here's the old NJT version of this, and we'll do it. Equals 25,000 divided by 1 plus 6%, and this is to the 0 plus 1. Okay, and then what you're going to do, because you need 5 of them, and 3 more. Rid of accidentally hit. You got to be careful when you accidentally hit something like that. Okay, so this is 220. Now, all you do is you just very skillfully move through this. You change the exponent and the cash flow by 1 the whole way. That's 5. All right, so you have all that. And then you have, you can use the PV function, right? It's going to be 6%. It's going to be 5 years. It's going to be a bunch of $8,000 payments, and then plus. I apologize for that. I don't know why that's happening. Plus a 25. There, it's the same number. Because it repeats, so use the annuity formula of the present value, which again is described in chapter 5. Like I said, I decided we're going to do some applied problems in this course. Okay. Yeah, this is our old NPV version. It's a 25 plus NPV. The rate is 6. This, comma this, comma this, comma this, comma this. This is simply equal to that. Okay. That's what you got here. All right, and this is for the annual equivalent, the equivalent annual annuity number. Okay, we're going to look at that before we hit the self-test. So once again, you're buying, or you're potentially buying this. So that's why you're figuring these numbers out. You've already got the $12,000 a year system. You've already got it in there. So you're not really doing a study because it's already there. You're trying to determine, should you switch to this system, to this machinery? Okay. And yeah, so let's hit it. All right, we're going to do the same math. So we're just going to come up here. We're going to conveniently use what you have here, copy and paste, and let's fix it. All right, this is 217. Yeah, the 3 of them in 5 years. Yeah. Okay. So that's 4.2124, and this is just simply the NPV divided by that. So this should cost, the new system should cost you 13,000. As opposed to 12. Wow, there you go. Now, yeah, you could use, let's not rush is what I may say to this. If we're spending 12,000 a year and we can effectively manufacture, we can effectively use the machinery for another 2 years, why deal with the $14,000 a year expense when I can settle for 12,000? Okay, so I'll push having to change over to this out a couple of years. And here, let's see the analysis down here. It says the cash flows in the machine are equivalent to 13,000. So we can equally well ask whether you want to replace the old machine, which costs 12. With the new one, it seems obvious, but Yeah, so that'd be 1,000, not, yeah, about 2,000 more. So there's the analysis right there. Okay. We're up to self-test 8.8 or 8.8. Yeah, I did the light bulb one. We did that. The old machine, we just did that. So yeah, we're on our last model in the net present on our 6th video. And like I said, actually, this is the first chapter I've really done an end-to-end set of videos on the lectures, not just working out the problems with the whole lecture. So like I said, so the online folks, watch all the videos. It's probably a good 5 or 6 hours of videos. Um, you know, then apply that learning to the homework. And that's your job. It can't just be, I become St. Peter's and the professor makes the video and I'm doing the homework problem for you. And you have to apply. You have to take what you learn in the lecture and apply it to something different, maybe, where you have to maybe make some adjustments. That's a tremendous skill. And I'm so concerned that we're not really getting that skill that we need to get. We have 2 machines here. They're mutually exclusive. You have to do one or the other type thing. One only lasts 2 years, the other one lasts 3 years. It looks like, yeah, K is only 2 years, machine 3 years. Yeah, and you have the cash flows here. There's operating costs, what it costs to buy them, and it's the same analysis. Okay, you have an initial capital investment and the annual cost. So let's go to it. And this was 13 or whatever this was. That was 58. Yeah, 13 was right there. Yeah. Okay, so we're good. All right, we're gonna come here. 10%. And your initial capital is buying it at 10,000. All right. And then you do this, the value at T0. Okay. For that, exponent 0, right? There it is. What happened here? Anchored 1100. Yeah, what happened here? Our numbers aren't matching. Why not? Why not? Oh, uh-oh. This is 217. Yikes, yikes, yikes. That's when you do things when you're tired, right? See, that just happened to me right there. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, okay. Yeah, oops, is all I can say is oops. Yeah, we didn't. Is it 11? Did I check the numbers in the? See, I have so much confidence in this stuff. I think it's just, yeah. See, this was a self-test one too. So if you guys give me a second, let's make sure I have my paper copy here. If you guys give me a second, I'll look it up. The paper copy, so we're not flipping all over the place. But all I can say is ouch on that one. But let's see. Because we were using the other rate. We're using the other rate. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Now it's right, it seems. 11. Okay. And this is okay. Here we're okay. Yeah. So yeah, you got to be so careful with these. Like this. What we were doing was we were referring to another percentage in a different place. Okay, so a little disturbing, but we got it. We're good. Okay. So we have this, and yeah, we'll and actually, and you have it too. This is 258. Yeah, 258, and these are this here. PV the costs 11, 14. Yeah. Okay. 609. Yeah, we're good. 610. Yeah. Again, I didn't. So yeah, 262. Always remember sort of where you were. So incessantly, clicking through everything. But yeah. So you got to be very careful when you copy and paste that stuff comes with you. And again, I was working on this, and I'm sure it was late, all those Okay, get all that. I'm going to sum all this. 11,971, 999, 91 equals negative PV. This one, oops, a rate. Let's just remind ourselves how we did it here. Yeah, we had to do them all because they're all different. Yeah, they're doing it. We had to do it that way. 10%. A year. Zero payment. 1,100. And plus that 10,000. Yeah. And then, like I said, the old school way is this plus this. This I like this way because it just keeps your focus as to what you're doing. Yeah, same number. That's just equal to that, and this was used. So again, I did a couple different ways here. And this is the initial capital, and the net present value, rate. Okay, which was all that. And again, somehow this is currency somehow. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Well, that's currency. Shouldn't be. Yeah, using the functions. Okay, so this again, so you have two choices here: machine K, machine L. Yeah, and you're going to look at the two of them and try to figure out which one has the lower equivalent annual operating cost, that kind of thing. So we found, again, we looked at, you can look at this one. This is net present value. For this machine one, did you have a comparable? You needed to compute the annual cost because there was no MPV to compare the current one because you already bought it, you already used it. So what, for the 2 years, so it's a tougher comparison. So this is just so the great minds in finance determine this is a better way to make this comparison, and it is. Okay, so we'll pick these up again. These complicated annuity factor type thing. And this all goes to these are all 253. So all those ones become threes, and this is the 259. Yeah. Okay. But actually, this is 2 years, not 3 years. So there it is. 2. That's it. And yeah, so the annual number is 6,910. All right, 6,910. All right. So we had that goal minimize costs, and then you'll work on machine L, okay, which is the same story. For whatever reason, I accidentally left that lingering in there. I apologize for doing that. Okay, this is again. This one costs 12,000, 1,100 operating costs, 1,200, and then 1,300. All that. And again, we had this sort of lingering here, but yeah, there it is. So copy, paste. There. Okay. The 10% discount rate, all that. And now, again, once you've sort of done all this, you can just sort of do this. Right? We summed everything. We just drag this down another notch like that. This one, you need another one of these. See how we're doing this? We're just sort of adding on a bit. 80, 80, This needs another one in here. This needs another minus PV parenthesis. The rate, the years, zero payment, future. Yep. This is this. Looking at about a $14,000 the present value of all those costs, including the $12,000, the initial capital piece. And once again, that you've got all these complicated pieces sort of flowing around here. Yeah, and this is actually 3 years, not 2 years anymore. All right. Yep, 6, and the math sort of followed us here. So it says, which one is better? Equals the annual number. This equals this thing. Okay, save as you go. So yeah, so L costs about 6,000. Yeah, L costs about 6,000. $19. This is 6,910. So L is lower, right? Yeah, and that, yeah, and actually they're talking. If you look in the book, there's an old machine that's already sort of going here. Yeah, repairs, operating. Yeah, it says again. I should have put that in here. I don't know why I didn't. Or did I? Oh no, yeah, we did. I put it at the bottom. So yeah, here it says suppose you have an existing machine, keep it going one more year. So yeah, and we added together the two costs here. This was equal to 2,500 plus 18. You have that going already. All right, 4,300. That's already going. So if you again, if it's doing the job, right, whatever equipment it's doing the job, and costs a little bit less to operate. If I had a 2012 BMW or something, I'm sure it costs a lot more to fix than a 2001 Toyota. That kind of thing. The gas costs more, and you have a lot of stuff comes with those luxury cars. You don't realize until you have it and you use it, and higher insurance, and a lot of that stuff. But that's it. Okay, you compared the machines, you compared the net present value. So obviously, and it's funny, L has a higher net present value than K, but it's cheaper to run. Interesting. Okay, so that's why you need these other methods, or a little bit. You need some of these other methods. Okay. Okay, so for the live class, these are the notes for the live class. I sent you the template on your separate template. Actually, we'll very quickly look at it. Right there. Yeah. So again, if the 102 folks, just very quickly, if the online section will bear with me with this. For the 102 folks, it says EC 102, and here's everything, whatever, it's a couple hundred lines of model, whatever it is, about 300 lines. All the questions are here, they're in the template, and the same thing for the online folks. Again, the online folks, this is the day section. They have other stuff, they have other problems, and I have other sections. So I just pile all my templates in sort of one place, type of a thing. Okay, but yeah, that's so for the online folks, you have something similar here. You're gonna click in assignment number 1, and there's your assignment number 1. There's the 8 questions I want you guys to work on. Okay. Yeah. So this is for the day for the day section. You're not gonna need that. And just to flash this to you guys a bit, I work on all the problems. I'm very, very, well practiced in what I'm asking you to do, because I've worked out all the problems myself. At a big time investment, to do it. But I'm happy to do it. But I spent a lot of time working on the problems. Okay, I did all the problems. If you look here, see all the way, payback, NPV, all the numerical methods, all the graphs. It's all done. So 35, whatever it is. So I'm prepared for all sorts of classes and all that. All right, folks, I'm happy to say that we're closing out the net present value chapter. We have 6 lectures. Okay, so you have all that, and click on them. And folks, we apologize from Blackboard. It's not really my doing, but for whatever reason, Blackboard, we can't get the videos up there posted for some reason, so I'm just sending them by email. So, like I said, I've had them posted in the past, but there's some technical reason why we can't do it. And let's just concentrate on those emails, and like I said, the documentations. People seem to feel more comfortable. I can run the courses the same way, email or Blackboard, but people seem to be more comfortable. When you say Blackboard, apparently, there's some sort of magical spell that it casts over people that they are comfortable using it. So we'll do that, I suppose. Okay. So there you go. Like I said, give me a little bit to get this stuff posted. Yeah. Okay. So this is, again, there's your homework template. And again, for the accounting part of the online course, I'll be filling this in, probably over the weekend. I'll probably start hitting this. Here's the worksheet and the comprehensive problem. So there's a couple things. There's some self-test questions. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that we'll be talking about. Okay, and like I said, we love YouTube. We love it because it allows us to really get your questions answered in a lot of detail. Even my day guys are saying, oh, yeah, we really like that, the YouTube videos. So, but again, there's tabs at the bottom. Okay, so just be aware of those tabs. You're clicking on the right tab for the right thing that you're working on. Okay, but yeah, last look, whatever that means. So, yeah, there's some definitions here. Table 8.3, defining the present. I think in one of the early emails, I think I asked you to look at this. These different, decision rules and how to use them. There's 4 of them there. And there's a survey of how many what firms use them and how they use them, those kinds of things. But this, I'll leave this up for a second. But that's a nice comparison table of the payback period, the probability index, internal rate of return, the net present value, the definition, the investment rules, some comments about it. So please spend some time on that. Okay. All right, folks. Again, good talking to you. We spent a good hour tonight, maybe a little bit more, maybe an hour and a half. But yeah, okay. So we finished up net present value, and for the online folks, expect the accounting chapter. And please keep emailing me, reach out to me as much as you need to. Okay, so I can answer your questions. Thank you.